Hi guys, hi YouTube. It's me, Lauren Cadillac, and this is not my usual type of video, obviously, because I usually talk about legal matters. But if I'm honest, what is happening in Red Bull Racing, in my mind, does kind of go along with the law, and hear me out, okay? All right, so if you are a Formula One fan, such as myself, you know that this last weekend there was a collision between Max Verstappen and Hamilton. Why did his name just escape me? His first name, I don't know why. Okay, so Verstappen and Hamilton had a collision. Verstappen's rear tire touched Hamilton's front tire. And so many people are like, oh, Hamilton's at fault. Hamilton was behind. He should have pulled back. He should have towed the line, whatever. I disagree. If you watch the beginning of the race, oh, and by the way, this accident happened on the first lap. So Verstappen hit him. Verstappen flew. He spun around. He hit the wall, and now he's in the hospital. Okay. And all these people are up in arms. Oh, I can't believe Hamilton hit Verstappen. If you watch from the beginning of the race, Verstappen comes out and starts doing this in front of Hamilton. One thing Verstappen knows is that Hamilton is amazing on the straightaways. And even though the Red Bull engine, in my opinion, is probably better this year, and I have some theories as to why, the Hamilton is always going to be able to overtake on a straightaway. I mean, the guy is the world's best driver ever. Okay. He wears his tires evenly. Like, they did a study of his tires, and they're worn evenly across. Like, the dude understands science and the science of driving more than any human that ever lived. So Hamilton can really pass you on a straightaway. I mean, you're done if you're going against him on a straightaway. So Verstappen knew there were a bunch of straightaways on this race, and he knew it was going to be neck and neck. So Verstappen, true to form, is doing this. And Hamilton, true to form, is driving aggressively. And Verstappen, if I watched the replay like 500 times, okay, because I couldn't believe this accident. I mean, I could believe it. And it was like, oh my God, I'm glad Verstappen's okay. Once you know he's okay, then you can go watch the replay. So watch the replay like 500 times. Verstappen comes back. Like, he was on this outside curb, and he like steers in. And Hamilton just going, right? I believe that the reason Verstappen hit Hamilton is because Verstappen was driving crazy and doing the weaving. And if you go back and there are some YouTube videos out here with footage, just like compilations of Verstappen doing this in front of other drivers. And that's how he drives. He drives very, very aggressively. So I was like driving in my car yesterday thinking about Red Bull. And I had just seen a YouTube about these engine modifications they've done. And they say they're following specifications exactly. I'm imagining they're following specifications exactly like the Trump organization followed IRS rules exactly, right? So they did these changes, and now all of a sudden their engine is like fantastic. So I'm thinking about the combined like engine is fantastic thing, plus Verstappen doing all this crap. And I know that the manager of the team is married to Jerry from the Spice Girls. And I'm going to ask Google which Spice she was, because I don't know. Which Spice Girl was Jerry? Let's see if Google tells us.
Ginger Spice.
She was Ginger Spice. Okay. So he's married to Ginger Spice. And I'm driving along thinking about, they're cheating. Red Bull's cheating. That's cheating. So I'm thinking, is it so hard to be married to to Ginger Spice that you have to cheat? You got to get Max Verstappen leaving, and you got to do all these things. And I don't mean to blame Ginger. I'm sure she's a lovely, lovely woman. Ginger Spice is, I'm sure, great. But I did think of that, and I thought it was funny. I wonder if there's a correlation. Anyhow, I think that Red Bull, and my guess is that it's because they're not a car company, right? They're like a energy drink company. I think because of that, they have like so much to prove. And on top of that, Max Verstappen is very cocky. When my son first saw him, he's like, "That's a face you want to punch." And it's not untrue. I mean, so I think the cockiness of Max Verstappen, the need for Red Bull to show that they can do something, even though it's totally an industry they're not even in, and maybe pressure from Ginger Spice, I don't know, leads Red Bull to do these things that maybe aren't illegal or against the rules per se, but are kind of sketchy enough that they're sketchy. And it looks like cheating to me. And it makes me think about the law, right? Obviously, Formula One rules are like not the law. Nobody's going to go to prison. I mean, you might get some points deducted or your team eliminated. I'm not sure like what the worst punishment in Formula One is, but in the law we have this clean hands doctrine, right? So the idea is, if you're going to sue me, you're going to come complain about what I did, you better make sure that your hands are clean and that you're not doing XYZ. So where Red Bull and Verstappen are like, "Oh, Hamilton caused this accident." Well, here's the thing, y'all. Your hands are unclean. You have Verstappen doing this all the time and in the beginning of that race. So I guess this is kind of a law video, isn't it? If you're going to complain about other people, make sure your hands are clean, right? Like, the Red Bull cannot, in my opinion, cry foul on this accident when Red Bull is a team that does this type of weaving and creates these types of accidents. So it's like, if you're going to be the pot, then don't call the kettle black, right? And it's the same idea in the law. It's, again, the clean hands doctrine. Don't come to the table and say, "I'm doing you wrong," if you're out doing wrong. I could take it a step further with like American politics. We as Americans, the way we treat people should never, ever complain to other countries about human rights violations, right? Like, we can't have the water system we have in Flint, Michigan that's gone unrepaired for a decade and then tell China how to treat people. Like, we don't have clean hands. So anyhow, I'm a huge Formula One fan. I have not ever gotten to go to a race. I would like to go to the one that's down in Austin. I'm going to try to go someday. And I would like to travel and go to races out of the country. I think that would be so freaking cool. Until then, I'm watching clips on YouTube and watching the race on my big screen at home. And of course, I'm the, what do they call it, Monday morning quarterback. And I'm watching replays of the accident and making these decisions about who has clean hands and who's at fault and who's not. But I don't know. I think it's an interesting and fun topic. And so I just thought I would come on and share my idea. And Lewis Hamilton, man, I don't know why Lewis just slipped my brain. Lewis Hamilton, I do believe he's the greatest driver of all time. That doesn't make him my favorite Formula One driver. I actually really like Daniel Ricciardo. I think he has a wonderful personality, and I've seen him this year specifically driving for McLaren and easing back for his teammate. If his teammate's coming up, okay, I'll let the teammate go ahead. And I love that. I love the idea of team sports. And even though Formula One is like an individual sport, they're on teams. And that's why Daniel Ricciardo is my favorite driver. I'm all about personality and team play. That's why the Spurs are my favorite basketball team, because they're always playing cohesively as a team. Or at least they used to in the past. I haven't been able to watch the Spurs in quite a while. So anyhow, that's it. That's my 2 cents. Obviously, this was not legal advice, so it didn't create any kind of attorney-client privilege or relationship here. I'm just kind of telling you about one of my favorite pastimes and my thoughts on the clean hand doctrine. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Can I turn it off? I can. Have a good one.